everybody, and welcome.
Whoa, oh my god. It's
Again.
all hell's breaking loose already.
Take two.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, everyone.
Hey, I'm going to do the intro.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, remember last week you said you were going to let me do the intro?
Okay, do the intro.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to, or back to, or to Validate Me. And this is a podcast where Presley, who's 12, and me, who's not 12, take
Do you
turns.
know how old you are?
I don't. We take turns assigning each other some cool media to check out, or media that we think is cool. So I give her stuff I thought was cool when I was about her age, and I still think is cool most of the time. Sometimes when I rewatch it, I realize that I don't think it's as cool as I thought it was back then, which is a nice little learning experience for me. And she gives me stuff she thinks is cool currently that her and her friends are kind of digging into. And so we try and validate each other's coolness somehow in that process.
Yeah.
I still remember, I think it was the first episode where I got to ask, does like taking the high score on 2 Galaga machines on Santa Monica Pier make me more cool or less cool?
That makes you so much more cool.
I think that is the essence of this podcast, right?
Yeah, but that makes you cool.
Yeah.
I agree.
So if you want to get involved, we're going to do housekeeping up front this time because I need to
Oh,
we need to
wow.
get better about that instead of saying it like an hour and a half into the podcast.
Hey.
So if you want to get involved in some way, you can email us at validatemepodcast@gmail.com. You can send us a tweet at validatemecast
Yes.
on Twitter. If you're watching this on our YouTube channel, obviously you can just comment on the video and let us
But
know
you
how
should
to do it.
email us because we don't have any emails
Yeah,
yet.
Presley wants an email, so send us an email.
Please email us.
We've
No one
gotten some
uses
tweets,
email anymore, but
nobody
email
uses
us
email.
anyway.
Write us a letter and take it to the post office.
Write us a letter and send it to us via carrier pigeon. It will arrive at our door at exactly 3 a.m. and call loudly, and we will take your letter and read it on the
The
podcast.
average ground speed of a laden swallow.
Also, make sure that it is written in the cursiviest scripture you could ever
Scripture.
do. What?
Script.
Scripture.
Scripture's a different thing.
Whatever. Words. To
Anyway,
quote Shakespeare. Words.
So
I
this
think it
is
was Shakespeare.
this is my turn, and so I assigned Presley.
No, we haven't even talked about it yet.
No, we're getting there. So I got to assign Presley something this time, and last podcast, Presley's been getting really into musicals, and so she assigned me Be More Chill to listen to the soundtrack to Be More Chill, which was excellent, by the way. And I love that Presley's getting into musicals because I kind of dig them too. Sorry about that. It's some good podcast craft. So when I was listening to Be More Chill, it felt very High School Musical to me, which is kind of supposed
High School
to
Musical,
not
the movie.
the
Just a
movie.
High
This
School
is
Musical.
it's like Who's on First. Like we're just having an Abbott and Costello act here every time I say High School Musical. I mean a high school doing a musical, not the
Don't say
movie
that.
series High School Musical.
Everyone's gonna think about High School Musical.
And when I think about high schools doing musicals, I think about Grease. Because every high school does Grease at some point in time, probably several times over the course of whatever, a few years they do Grease. I was the sound guy for a production of Grease. Well, almost everybody's done that. And so I thought, wow, this is awesome. Presley should watch the movie Grease. And so that's what we did. We watched Grease. We watched it together about a week and a half ago. And then over the remaining, several days getting ready for the podcast, we each watched it again separately and took notes, I hope. Grabbed some stuff for the soundboard.
I did take notes.
And,
I have a lot of them.
and we're going to talk about it a little bit.
Really?
And it was a lot, I have to say, for like my personal review of it, it was a lot rapier than I remember it being.
So was everything you've ever shown to me on this show.
Back when I listened to it before, it was pretty creepy in a lot of ways. And there were a whole lot of subtle, innuendo thrown into it.
There's a lot of it.
There's a
Jeez.
lot. I think you probably missed some of it. I missed some of it, the first time I watched it, and when I rewatched it, I was like, oh, okay, that's some pretty deep innuendo, but it's all, it's a very
You have to tell me these 'cause I wasn't paying
sexualized
attention.
movie
It is.
in ways that I did not expect it to be
Okay,
going into it.
wait.
And even Mommy and me were both like, did they edit it? Did they change the words when they do it in high school? Because that's pretty seriously profane.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what we're doing. We did Grease. We're gonna talk about some of the songs. When we did Be More Chill, we were doing the soundtrack, and so we really just kind of just talked about the songs
talking about
because
the
I
whole
didn't
thing this
know.
time,
But this time we're
boys.
talking about the movie. For this, that's what we're going to go into. So, Puchan, since this is your first impressions of Grease, why don't you kick us off? Let us know what you thought about it.
I'm about to ruin your ears by scooching my chair forward.
All right, do that. Ah, nice. Okay. All right.
Okay, now I'm
Again,
ready.
excellent podcast
Whoops.
craft.
I've already knocked everything over. Okay.
Respect the format.
Respect the format. God. Okay. So my thoughts of overall Grease. Oh no, those are at the end. Whoops. All right. Overall Grease thoughts. Where is my Grease thought? Boop, boop, boop. I found what I have a couple, but I don't remember where they are. La la la. Okay. So, do you want to just like start?
Yeah, you can start at the beginning if you want to. That's totally fine.
Start at the beginning.
Right.
The animation styles are okay. So the animation styles at the beginning. It has an animated intro, which you forgot about.
I totally forgot. I had no idea that Grease had an animated intro.
It
There's
does.
a little beginning part, which is them at the beach, Summer Lovin', doing their thing, and that was shot in Malibu. We haven't been over there yet, but we're gonna go where they shot that scene.
Yay.
And so we'll go there before too long. And that's a real thing, or at least it used to be. I don't know if it's still a real thing.
Having summer flings?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So, like, when I was a kid, we used to go on, like, a big summer vacation, like, weeks, maybe even, down to the beach, down to the redneck Riviera, down around Mobile, Alabama, and Destin, Florida, and those kinds of areas.
Destin!
Yeah. Not that
Oh.
Destin, different Destin. We would drive down there, and we would spend kind of a long time, and then there would be, like, a whole group of kids there that were on vacation together.
From different places.
From all different places, yeah. But we would all kind of hang out and become like a gang, and some people would hook up, and that would be like a whole thing. And it was just over the course of a couple of weeks in the summer, and then eventually you had to go back home. But
Did
even
anyone
just
ever
being
do
there
that?
for a couple of weeks, like that seems like forever for a kid. And so it seems like you were together for a long time, and then it was super sad when you had to split up and go home.
Did you guys like stay in contact?
No,
I guess
never.
You guys had to
no
be,
one.
like,
No way. You had to write
snail mail
letters. Yeah,
pals.
you would have to write letters, and maybe like once or twice you would send a letter back and forth, and that was about it. That would
Wow.
fade pretty quickly.
Now you can
even
be friends
even
with
if we tried to
everyone
do
you've
it. Yeah,
ever
you could totally
spoken
Skype
to.
with people and do all those kinds of things. But yeah, that was like a real thing, and I remember like going on like even camping trips and kind of going to campsites and spending time. There would be that's a real thing.
Yes.
All right, so go-
making sure you can hear me through the mic because I can't.
No, I can hear you just fine.
Okay, good.
You can hear yourself?
I cannot.
That's interesting.
Well,
all right.
oh, there I am.
Yeah,
Hello.
yeah. All right, you're back.
All right. Anyways, there's like two bits. There's the bit with Zuko in the beginning.
Okay, wait, let's talk about the
bit-
animation again real quick.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about the animation.
Oh, you are? Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're
So
talking about
there's-
Danny's animation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
okay.
there's Danny's animation. And how did you know I was talking about Danny? I didn't say his
Because you
name
said
yet.
Zuko. You
Did
said
I?
the part with Zuko at the beginning.
Did I already say that?
I assume,
thought I was preparing to say that
I
already.
assume you meant Danny.
Yes.
When you
Prince
said Zuko. Mm-hmm.
from the Fire Nation. So there's a bit with Zuko. I'm gonna call him Zuko because it's easier for me to remember.
Okay.
So there's that, and it's animated. And I cannot compare it to anything else, but it's animated exactly like the Beatles cartoon, and that's all I can compare it to.
Like
is
Yellow
the Beatles
Submarine kind of
cartoon.
thing? Yeah, interesting.
No, not a Beatles music video. The cartoon
Oh, like
about
the
the
show.
Beatles.
Yeah. So I wrote down that it's a lot like School of Rock.
Yeah.
Which is a very 70s animation style. So it was made, the movie was made in the 70s, about the 50s.
Yes.
And the animation style for that intro thing was very Schoolhouse Rock. So it was
Yeah.
like real simple animation, and it was, I think it was like 6 to 10 frames a second.
Yeah.
Like you could, to make it faster and easier to animate, but it kind of has that herky-jerky kind of style to
Yeah,
it
yeah,
because
yeah.
it's not a full frame rate kind of thing. But yeah, very
Yeah.
School Rock.
And then the bit with Sandy is more like, sort of, it's like the sketches for a Disney movie. It doesn't look like the
Yeah,
Disney
well, there's a little
movie itself.
Bambi. There's a deer in there, and
Yeah.
the birds put the robe on her. So that's
It's
Cinderella.
Disney, yeah, but the art style itself is more like
That's right.
the story.
I think the guy that did the animation might have done some apprenticing at Disney or something like that. Like that was
Yeah.
obviously a nod straight to Cinderella. And the song that they sang, Grease, like the theme song. So that was written by the Bee Gees. You know who the Bee Gees are?
Nope. I
Okay,
mean,
the-
I've heard them.
And it's
but
the Brothers Gibb is what the Bee Gees stand for.
Gibb doesn't have a.
G-I-B-B.
Oh.
The Bee Gees. Brothers
Oh!
Gibb. Yeah.
I
See?
thought it was B-E-E-G.
No, so the Bee Gees. And it may be, I don't know how they may spell it. I don't, whatever. But it's the Brothers. I think it's the Brothers Gibb. I always heard it was the Brothers Gibb.
Gibb.
Again, there's 3 of them, I think. Whatever. So Barry Gibb, who was one of the Brothers
last
Gibb.
name.
Yeah.
I was like, those are
They're like
words.
they were like the McElroys of the 70s.
They were.
No, they were not. The
Aw.
McElroys of the 70s.
They did a D&D podcast.
They were super disco though, right? They were a very disco group. And then Frankie Valli sang the song, and he was kind of 50s, 60s like crooner.
Yeah.
So it was a real mashup of the style, like the 70s music style with the 50s crooning vibe and stuff. So even that song Grease kind of has a real throwback to what the movie's kind of about, like a 50s movie with some 70s kind of sensibility kind of stuff in it. Yeah,
that's
it's pretty cool.
Okay, next overall thought, because I found them.
Okay.
So my overall thought is, this is a really oddly specific one, but Kanicki's name,
Yeah.
which is something that confused me for a really long time.
Yep.
Kanicki's name sounds like a McElroy, like looking at like a suburban white mom name, like Nikki spelled Knickkie.
Yeah. Yeah.
It seems like that's how a McElroy would pronounce that, like Knickkie,
Right.
as a joke.
Right.
It doesn't seem like a real life name.
Yeah, Knickie's a good name though. I like. It's fun to
It's
say.
a good name. Knickkie.
Yeah,
Woo!
Knickkie.
It's just
Knickkie.
Nikki with a K.
I'll probably be mentioning Knickkie
Knickkie.
more than once in this podcast because I like to say his name.
Knickkie. Everyone speaks with this really weird intonation. And I don't know if that's a 70s thing or a 50s thing or just they spoke really weirdly.
It's a little of both. Like there's
It's like
some
this
slangy kind of stuff going on, and just the speech patterns. And it's John Travolta, and like at that time he was actually in this TV show called Welcome Back, Kotter, and he was Vinny.
From Vinesauce.
Man, I don't remember his last name now. I can't remember what Vinny's last name was in Welcome
That
Back,
guy.
Kotter. But anyway, Freddie Washington, like all these guys, and Vinny, who I loved. And he had like this greaser sort of 70s wave speech pattern, and so that carried over into the movie a little
Yeah,
bit, I
but
guess,
it's sort of
he's got a very
everyone.
similar thing. But everybody
They
kind of had
all
that, yeah.
speak like this, and it's really weird. Like they're nodding their head back and forth the entire time that they talk, and it's very strange.
And it's a little of the musical too, like carrying over into the, because it was a musical first, it was on
Yeah.
Broadway, and then it carried over, so some of that carries over. But there were definitely some speech patterns to be enjoyed.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that. There was a little "I like Ike" button in the animation in the beginning, and just
yeah.
coincidentally you saw an
Yeah,
"I like
I
Ike"
saw
button
one.
just the other day.
That was
in
cool.
Seattle.
I think there's one more thing, but it's like hidden in the middle of my notes. So
No,
I'll tell it when
let's just
we
go
get
through.
to
Yeah,
it.
we'll go through
All
in
right.
sequence. So
Still
okay,
going through notes.
opening shot in Malibu. Then there's the cool animation, which is actually pretty cool. I just
Yeah,
didn't remember it all.
it's good animation.
And then they show up at school.
They show up at school, and there's a bunch of weird slang when they're talking to
Venice High School, right down the road.
Yeah.
We just went there yesterday and just kind of visited and saw the front of Rydell High School, which is exactly where this shot was, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah,
Right?
it's really
And
cool.
Presley, I've got some sound clips from Presley
Yeah, 'cause when the
requested from
T-Birds are
her
first, like,
Presley slang,
meeting.
so the T-Birds getting together.
Eat me.
Yeah, that's-
That's so weird.
so again, like the cadence is weird there.
Eat me.
Yeah. And then here's Vinny Barbarino. That was his name from Welcome Back, Kotter. Vinny Barbarino.
It was flipping.
If you're playing at home, the answer is Barbarino.
Flippin'.
Yeah.
That's so
It was
funny.
flipping.
Danny, it's flipping. That was like, how was the beach, right?
It was flippin'.
It was flipping. It's a good line. You're gonna have to mix that into your
People
vocab now.
actually say that?
Oh, absolutely.
It was flipping.
It was flipping, man.
It was
Yeah.
flippin'.
Yeah.
That's good.
Cool. I like that
Oh,
one.
and then there's, which I didn't get as a clip, but there's one where they just sort of all, so they have a conversation that lasts like a minute or so.
Yeah.
Where they use a bunch of weird slang and then they just start screaming.
I don't remember that, but I
Well,
believe
they don't, like their conversation sort of fades to like we are in the background so we can't be actually talking or it will distract from everything. And their solution for that is just to sort of yell.
Okay. All right. I believe
It's in
you.
character.
We need to watch part of it with Poppy and talk to him about how realistic some of this
Oh my
stuff
God,
is.
yeah.
He was in school definitely
That'd
during
be a
those times.
good idea. Okay.
All right. Cool.
Okay, so then we're sort of in the school now because I forgot to take notes. I started like actually when I was rewatching the movie and taking notes, I started accidentally like watching the movie and not
Yeah, so
taking
that's the
notes a
sign. Like
bunch.
on so just so we can go ahead and talk about Lost a little bit.
Oh boy.
The in first time show, you can tell how good the episodes are by how few sound clips Zaragoza
They're just
has
too
because he
distracted.
gets so into the episode he forgets to pull sound clips.
Yeah.
And so you can the really good episodes when there probably are really great clips to be had, he doesn't pull any because he's just getting absorbed in the episode.
But then the
And this
bad
was kind of
episodes
this way
go
for me
by.
too. Like I would keep watching it and be like, oh man, I gotta go back. I forgot to take notes and pull sound
Yeah.
clips. But I've got so the morning announcement was one of the first things that happened.
Yeah. Do you have the ding?
I do have the dings, but before I've got the dings, I've got this.
If you can't be an athlete, be an athletic
Athletics.
supporter.
That's later, but yes, I have that in my notes too.
Yeah, I pulled
relatable.
the like ding
Yes.
solo at the end because I thought it was
Oh.
funnier.
Do it.
But it's the same thing
If
when
you
she's
can't
doing the
be
thing.
an
And you know what an
athlete,
athletic
be
supporter is, I
athletic
assume?
supporter.
It's me. Being an athletic supporter. I know what I support athletes. I don't know.
This is that's why I pulled this clip because I didn't know if you would
I
get it.
assumed it was just someone who was like standing in the background going, "Yay, sports!"
Well,
that's
that's-
what I do.
That's the pun of it, but it's like the other meaning of it that makes it funny is it's a jock strap.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, so it's like
Wow.
protective underwear, I suppose, and
Well, it's also me screaming in the background, "Go sports!"
Right, but they're like saying be an athletic supporter. So there's a pun there that I thought you may not have gotten.
Yeah,
so
no, because I don't know weird slang for
It's
that.
not slang. It's
It's
what it's called.
slang. That is not what it's called.
That's
Be an
totally what it's called.
athlete, Be an athletic supporter.
And then she
it's
goes,
not.
well, you can tell she like made a face. She pulled a face, is what you're supposed to say. She pulled a face after she said athletic supporter because she realized what she had just said. And I thought you probably
Not a
would have
thing.
missed it.
Yeah, no, because I don't sports.
All right, here you go. You ready?
Ever. I wanted to use the ding.
When she gets mad because she keeps playing. Slaps her hand on it. Like I
I
thought that was
wanted to
funny.
use it as our like transition into something. It
Oh,
would be
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Anyways,
All right, what else you
okay,
got?
so while they're just chilling there, everyone is like, they tease Eugene a lot, but they're like friends with him, and I thought that was a really good thing because they could have just been like really mean to him the whole time.
Yeah, like this is a whole part of this movie, and I was kind of talking to Mommy about this the other day too, where like I don't know if they were pals. Like these are the tough guys in the school, and they're like dancing in the bleachers at lunch, and
You know,
they're
like cool guys do.
entering the Charleston competition or the swing competition at
Yeah.
the school dance. Like that's it's very West Side Story, or there's
I haven't seen that movie.
I know we need to do that one too. There's a lot of like tropes that come into this, and even I was thinking about Heathers too, right? Where like
Heather.
even in Heathers, like you've got like JD is showing up at some of these events that like that guy would never show up at.
Yeah.
But you need them to be at that event as part of the storytelling mechanism. And so
Right.
the fact that like they went to the bonfire, the pep rally, and were hanging out at the pep rally watching Olivia Newton-John do what may be the worst cartwheel on film ever. Like you go back and watch that scene if
That
you haven't
was
watched it in a
really
long
good.
time
That
because it
was
was
really
really
good.
horrible. Like I'm surprised that made the cut into the film. It was so bad.
I thought she was supposed to be bad.
Not that bad. Like that Cooper can do a better cartwheel than that. But having all of these toughs, as it were, like show up, showing up at the pep rallies and doing the dance competition and stuff. That whole thing is just kind of funny.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't tell whether like that was as mean as they were kind of allowed to be to Eugene in the characters that they were playing, and they were really mean and didn't like him and were picking on him. Or if it was like, it came across as like good-natured ribbing, but I think part of that is because of the tone of the movie.
Yeah.
That they actually weren't his friend and were like, you never saw them being buddies at some point later.
Yeah.
That they were really kind of picking on him, but that's kind of as tough as
I
it
don't know,
could
that's
get
how I
in
am
like
with
this
my
50s
friends,
movie.
so.
Yeah, right?
I
No.
just was like, yeah,
Right. I
pals.
mean, now that's like totally good-natured kind of wink, wink, nudge, nudge, ribbing kind of stuff.
Yeah,
but I think
we-
at the time they were supposed to be like really tough.
We
And
insult each other a
it
lot.
reminded me of what was the other thing this made me think of as far as like the tough guys dancing and doing all that? I don't know. It'll come back to me.
Tough boys dancing.
I may have
Yeah.
I may have put notes in here when I get to it later.
Groovy boys.
All right, so morning announcement. Oh, then they pick on Eugene, which I thought was interesting to see.
I said it was valid because I thought they were just sort of because it would be so easy to have them like harassing and being super mean to him and like punching him and stuff.
Yeah, but again, I
But
think that like in
yeah.
the tone of the movie,
That
that
was
would have been
all-
really weird. Like what
Yeah.
they did is probably about as far as they could have gotten away with harassing
There's
him.
questionable stuff in this movie.
Because they're not, but not
Whatever.
like bullying.
I thought it was valid when I first saw it.
Yeah, I don't. And
Second
maybe you
thought.
may be right. Like maybe I'm reading it wrong. All right, so I've got the.
Okay.
I go to when they're sitting at the picnic table.
Have
you got something before that?
I have a note between that.
All right, go.
Okay, so that is the literal second Rizzo like stepped out of the car.
Yeah.
I was like, that is not a straight person. That was,
The Pink Ladies,
yeah.
the
that's
boss of
not-
the Pink Ladies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rizzo.
I like
she's
Rizzo
good.
a lot.
She's really valid.
From this, and I'll talk about her again in a minute when we get to the part. But I really fell in love with Marty. Rewatching it,
good.
like I think Marty was my favorite of the Pink Ladies.
He's valid.
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone's so valid in
Yeah.
this movie. This
But
movie's
Rizzo's
really
pretty
valid.
good. Rizzo's mean though. Like Rizzo's the meanest character probably in the movie, right?
I almost quoted Heathers and then realized there's a swear word and I can't quote it.
Like from what I can remember from my couple of watching, I think Rizzo is
kind
like the
of,
most
like,
vindictive,
mean.
like mean.
But
Like the look on her face when she introduces Sandy and Danny again, like reunites them. Like Danny has that moment, and again, I'll play a clip in a second when we get to that part. But he has this moment where he's trying to be cool and stuff, and then
He's really bad.
he hurts her feelings. But I mean, that's him being cool. He hurts her feelings, and she runs off, and then he looks at Rizzo because he knows Rizzo did that on purpose. And she looks at him, and they exchange this moment, and it's like that hatred and like smugness and satisfaction in her face of having done that to him. Number one, it's great acting because I totally bought it, but it showed you like the soul of her character to some degree in that
so
scene.
she's Heather Chandler.
And like obviously they dated like this year before.
Yeah.
Right. They mentioned it a couple of times, but yeah, they dated the year before, and it can kind of gone south. So she still has a thing for Danny. So having the new girl come along and win Danny's heart hurts her a little bit. All right. So yeah. Okay.
She's
so cool.
Heather Chandler.
She comes out and she's Heather Chandler, and they walk like the Heathers. And
But there's more of them.
Yeah.
Heather.
Well, there's only there's 4 of them at the beginning,
there's
right
4
when
of
they
them.
walk out. Yeah.
So it's the Heathers plus one.
Well, the Heathers plus what's her putz?
Oh,
Who
wait,
joins the
which
Heathers?
one? Oh, plus Veronica?
Veronica, yeah. The
But
whole
then
movie's
wait,
about
Sandy's Veronica then.
Sandy is Veronica then, yeah. Okay.
So then there's a Heathers plus one. There's
Oh
the
yeah,
secret.
Sandy's Veronica. Yeah. You're right. All right.
The
all right, cool.
secret
All right, so they go and they're
forbidden
sitting around the picnic table,
orange
and they ask if Sandy maybe could be a pink lady, has got what it takes, and you get one of my favorite quotes from the movie.
She looks too pure to be pink.
It's
I
a good
like
line,
that.
and that's
a good
Rizzo,
line.
right? That's Rizzo, and that's pure Rizzo, and that's a really good line. And she's also like during the Summer Lovin' song.
She kicks people
Because
and
he
she's
sounds
like,
he sounds like a drag, right? Like
Yeah.
she's the downer of the kind of thing, right? But
That's a gay.
She looks too pure to be pink.
that's a good line. It's a
Yeah.
real good line. I'm definitely happy with that one. Okay,
She's
cool.
just very ugh, and that's a mood most
Yeah.
of the time. Oh my god, I forgot to tell you to get this. But someone in the right before Summer 11 says Claude, and I was like they said Claude, and I was
Like Claude Wolf.
no Claude the insult, COLD.
Oh,
You Claude.
like a Claude, CLOD, like a dirt Claude.
I don't know. I don't know what Claude means.
I thought you meant like Claude Wolf, like they were suddenly in Monster High, making references. Is
No.
that his name, Claude Wolf or Claude?
Claude, maybe.
Isn't he the
I
wolf
don't
because
know.
the claws? And
I mean,
stuff?
Claudine is the gal.
yeah, but I thought Claude was the
was
guy that was her. I
don't
you-
know.
I'm not
I
the
don't
guy
remember.
to be going to on
I
that.
don't
We'll
remember.
ask Melissa what she thinks about it. All right, back on topic. All right,
Okay,
cool.
so they take their water gun really seriously, and it's very valid.
He does take his water gun in the bleachers.
Yeah.
Yes, he takes his water gun very, very. And this is again like hanging
so
out in the
funny.
bleachers and do it like as much as I love the dance that they do in the bleachers. Like it's one of my favorite dances, and all the high school productions do like that dance almost, like kind of mirror it. But it's not the toughest dance I think I've ever seen. A gang of tough. Oh, now I remember what I was going to say. That totally reminded me. Speaking of the dance and the dances and the tough guys, the Shibuya Boys. Like they remind me of the Shibuya Boys, right? Yeah, the greasers that are in Japan dancing
we
and
saw
on
those.
Sundays.
That was really
We did. We totally saw them, and they're amazing, and they're one of a group of
Yeah.
my favorite people in the world. And they actually are kind of the toughs. Like that's an example of the guys out there doing the dance, but they're actually kind of a tough gang that you don't want to mess with.
Yeah.
And so
They're just
I can
dance.
use them as a
Let
way to
them
be
be
maybe
free.
these guys really were tough because they're like the Shibuya Boys.
Let them be free and
There you go. Hey, I remember my thing.
Yay. Okay,
All right, and then you get this. All right, so this is one that I showed you, and all right, so this goes. Okay, let's go back to Marty. So
Oh,
in Summer Lovin' in the song,
Yes.
when she does,
God, yeah.
does he have a car? And she does the first and she like does the sneer and it's beautiful. Like it's just so perfectly
It's
done.
good.
It was one of the. If you're gonna take like a frame from the film, like I love that one. That's one of
That's
my
a
favorite
good
things.
frame.
She does like the first and she just does the does he have a car? I think or did he have a
Does
car or
he
something
have-
like that?
And he does like, and she does like this little like wink thing.
Yeah,
too.
it's like a total sneer wink thing, and it's one of my favorite moments.
It's good. It's really
And then at the end of the song, John Travolta does another one of my favorite frames, where he does like this little bashful like. And you can't show it on the podcast, right? But it's right before
On
he goes
our
into
audio
yeah,
podcast.
right. It's right before he goes into the high note. So I've got the high note here, and I've got the little
Oh my god.
that comes before it that I think is super funny, and then he hits the
It's
high
really
note.
cute.
Whoa! I fell off of it.
It's so.
That's the thing.
Here we go.
All right, you're going up in the upper range here. Why do they need to go like? I don't know, they just do. And they've got like this really beautiful like Olin Mills family portrait shot going on
I
at
know,
the same
that's what I was
time because
mentioning.
Sandy is like superimposed on one
I
side
know.
of the screen. It's
Why
like a
didn't
spectral.
You know what would have worked really well if she if there was the same sort of transition thing, but she was just standing there.
Right. Well, they're
That would've been
they're
better.
only like 20 feet apart.
Yeah.
Like she's just kind of behind the bleachers is where the benches are or the picnic
Yeah.
tables are. So they're kind of really close together. But that was like a really great opening song. It's number one. It's a great
good
song.
song.
It's really
I
fantastic.
think I was stuck in my head for like a week.
And you've got the whole like boys versus girls version of what happened, and you
Yeah,
got you know
okay.
that like the reality is probably somewhere in the middle of those two things. Like neither of them is probably telling exactly what happened, and they're both exaggerating on opposite ends. She's being a little more like prudish.
Well-
Her version of it is a little more prudish
well,
than what
he's, like,
probably happened,
Lenny
and while
face.
he's like way further than I remember him being.
Money face.
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah. Right?
Yeah, I like this. I would like to say, okay, so the thing I want to say about this is here at school, the girls are being sort of like more like, did he have a car?
Yeah.
Was it good? Like less like the boys.
That's right.
But then once they're in the sleepover, they're all like,
That's a good point, Presley. Excellent.
and that is
See,
exactly that
this
is how
why
it
we
is
do
in
this.
real life. Because
This is why we do this podcast because that's
I
that's
have
beautiful insight. That's beautiful. I didn't even notice that, but that's
yeah,
absolutely
'cause,
right.
like, they're at school. They're all like, "I'm well behaved." Well, not really, but kind of. and then like when they're out of school, that they're like winky face to the max, and that is exactly how it is in real
They're
life.
drinking booze, smoking cigarettes.
I mean,
They're all
I didn't do
the
that.
bad kids, right?
I can promise that.
That's
I've never
very
had
it's very
an
funny,
alcohol.
but that's a good example. Yeah, that's a great insight, John. All right, cool. So now the next scene that I've got written down is the podcast. The podcast. Oh my goodness!
like,
You
what?
remember when they did the podcast in Greece? It was awesome. That was, Oh, that's a deleted scene that you have to get somewhere else.
Deleted scene where Jack has an awkward conversation with Kate.
on a podcast. No, the pep rally. I'm sorry. So they go to the pep rally. And
Podcast.
the pep rally opens with one of Presley's favorite little speeches. Let me see if I can find. Oh, here it is.
I
Right
like
here we
it.
go.
This
Here's
is
the
me
coach. The
threatening
coach gets
people.
up and he gives this little speech here.
We're gonna yank him, tear him, and rip him. We're gonna take him and roll him around and rip him up to pieces.
Okay.
And then we're gonna slaughter him.
Okay, I like this especially because he says we're gonna rip them up to pieces, and then we're gonna slaughter them.
After we rip them to pieces, we're gonna slaughter them. That's right. And then the funny part is he's like, and then we're gonna come back here and we're gonna ring the victory bell like we've always wanted to do. Like they've never won a game. Like never in the history of the
It's so
school have they been able to ring the victory. Like it's funny.
Let's put your
it's a
main
good,
character on the team. Okay,
it's a good shtick.
So here's my question for you:
right.
Are pep rallies an actual thing?
Oh, pep rallies are yes.
Because I feel like my
Yes.
friends are making them up because they sound so
No.
weird.
When we get around to you watching 3 O'Clock High for this podcast, which you will at some point, almost certainly.
I will.
There's a really great pep rally in that too. No, pep rallies are very much a real thing. Mommy
Like-
can attest to them. Mommy was in flag squad. And cheerleaders, and I was a cheerleader for the basketball team, so I did some pep rallies on both sides.
were
Like I was an
on the
athlete
team.
at the pep rally, and I was a cheerleader at a pep rally before.
Fun.
We did, pep rallies are very real, very very real things.
That's like that don't because it's. I was told by my friend, and if she's listening to this, hello, you know who you are. And she said like, pep rallies are, you go and you scream about how there's a speech about how your school is the best school
They're
and better
gonna
than all
rip
the
them
other
and
schools.
tear them apart and
Yeah,
slaughter
so
them.
they
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
"Our
Well,
school
the
is the
coach
best
gets up
school
there and says
and better than all
basically
the other
that.
schools.
Yeah.
And then they have a competition about who can scream the loudest.
Maybe, yeah, the variations of that. So one of the things I was going to
Weird.
mention too about that pep rally that is very near and dear to mommy and my heart, I think, is that they built that little bonfire, and they were
Yeah.
like running around the bonfire. So in Texas, A&M once a year used to. I think they've started doing it again, but they used to build these huge bonfire for
Wow.
their pep rally for the UT game, right? And so it was like multi-story. Like I'm talking, it
Oh,
was
damn,
building
okay.
sized, and every year it got bigger and bigger and more tiers, and it was like the engineers at A&M were having to architect and design and build this bonfire, and then they would burn it, at the end of the pep rally, and people would go hang out and run around it and scream and drink and stuff. And then one year while we were in school, it collapsed.
Oh,
While they were
no.
building it,
Oh.
not during the fire.
Okay, thank God.
But
I
no,
was like-
still while they were building it, so there were people on it, and so I know people were injured badly. Yeah, I think people died. I think a
Wait,
few people
wait,
died.
really?
Yeah. Like it's a big enough structure that when it collapsed, it killed people. And so they
Jeez.
stopped doing the bonfire because of that.
Why?
And I think years later, and that's been years and years and years ago, but I think they eventually started doing it again, but doing it on a much smaller scale because of what happened. But yeah, that bonfire, like every time I watch that scene and see the bonfire, I think of the bonfire, which is that big A&M bonfire. It was it was a sight to behold. Like it was a really amazing thing to see in person and go to. But yeah, when
Yeah, but then
when
people
it
died,
collapsed,
so-
yeah, it was pretty crazy. Yeah. So yes, very
Okay,
very very
also,
real,
at some
and
point,
very important to certain subsets of people
yeah.
that don't include me. But-
Anyway, at some point, I told you to get clips, and I actually left out about half of them because
Yeah.
they were disguised as normal notes.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Because they didn't mark them down as clips.
Okay.
But someone says Prime.
Oh, do they really?
Someone says
Oh,
Prime,
I
and
missed
I
that.
went, haha, Red
That's
Rising!
yeah, so that's a
Because I
Red
also have
Rising
to talk
reference.
about Red Rising at some
Yeah.
point on this podcast.
Oh, okay. I'll go back and find that because that's worth looking at.
Yeah, and then oh my gosh, so then here we're back to the part where Rizzo brings Sandy over to Danny.
Oh, wait,
And-
I've got one before that.
Oh boy. you
So Sandy is kind of like making goo-goo eyes at the football
do.
player,
Oh my god.
right? They're like mouthing words to each other and stuff.
Which we're gonna talk about on our audio podcast.
And this means absolutely nothing to you, but that dude is Lorenzo Lamas.
I don't know who that is.
I know you have no idea. I'm going to show you a picture of him later, and you're going to be like, "Oh my god, that's that dude that was in the." You're going to freak out. I promise.
Okay.
Because he's like a long-haired biker. He's in a TV show called Renegade at some point in time. He was on soap operas. Like he is like the epitome of like soap opera actor with the long hair and the bad boy motorcycle
Bad
right.
boy.
That he's that guy.
But he played
And
a Chad.
So for anybody here who is listening, like that was Lorenzo Lamas. Like that's the fact of the podcast for me. Like I was blown away that I did not realize at all
That I
that was
gave
who
you
that
a
was.
cue into a clip and
Did
you
you?
didn't
I'm sorry.
play it.
All right,
I
what
said
was
he
it?
was a Chad and you didn't play the Chad
Oh,
clip.
is it Chad?
Yeah. Well, no, his name isn't Chad. Do you not know about? Okay.
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Innocent. Don't learn. Play the Chad clip now.
Who's Chad?
He's not a guy. It's an adjective. Now play the Chad clip.
How am I supposed to play the Chad clip when I have no idea what the hell you're talking about?
And then BuzzFeed Unsolved.
Oh yeah, I don't have that.
You can't.
Oh, that's way.
I know
that's
how easy
a totally
it is for you
different
to get
board.
him, but
It's
whatever.
a totally different board.
Yeah, you can switch to it.
All right,
Oh,
hold on, let me
whatever.
see if I can actually switch to it. Oh
Yes.
no, I can't because I did some changes to this board, and if I go away from it, they'll go away. I haven't saved this board.
Why did
All
you
right,
not
so
do
now I
that?
know. I don't know what Chad
Whatever.
means though,
Chad. He's
and
a
I
Chad.
won't look it up. There's another thing I shouldn't look up.
I mean, you can, but it's not like you
What's
should
the other?
never look it
What's
up.
the other thing I'm not supposed to look up?
It's vor.
No, vor. Okay.
It's vor.
I don't know what it
You,
means.
you
I'm not
don't
gonna look it
please-
up.
Don't look up. Whoops. Don't look up vor. You can look up Chad if you want to, but
I'm
stay
not.
innocent if you can.
Okay, so now let's go. So when Rizzo finally brings Sandy over,
It's like Danny is trying so hard to be cool.
that's his
Sandy.
before he's being cool.
Sandy!
Like that's your Michael clips from Be More Chill
Sandy!
when he's like
Michael.
excited, right?
Cinematic parallels.
And then he goes from
Sandy!
to
Well, that's cool, baby.
It's so bad. It's not cool.
oh, that's one of my favorites.
Well, that's cool, baby.
That's
that
Vinny. That's Vinny
supposed-
Barbarino right
Did
there.
you see that and say that's a cool guy?
He's a cool guy.
When he's doing that?
Yeah, yeah.
Were you like,
That's
that's
cool,
cool?
baby.
That's the epitome of
That's
cool.
not.
Well, that's cool, baby.
That's cool, baby.
No, it's an ability of like someone trying
Well, that's
ridiculously
cool,
hard.
baby.
And
to be
then,
cool.
oh no, this one comes later. Oh, there's another really good one that's coming up that
Oh,
you're gonna
boy.
love. Yeah, you're
Okay.
gonna love. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
so he's trying so hard, but he's so much worse than he normally is.
His transition from
Sandy!
to
Well, that's cool, baby.
is pretty good.
it's really
That's some
good.
solid John Travolta acting right there.
It's
That's
really
what it's supposed to
good.
be. And then him and Rizzo exchange that look that I was talking about, which if you haven't watched it in a
We're
long
gonna
time,
show on our
go
audio.
watch it because that's really good.
Yeah, okay, we're talking about so many visual things on our audio
All right,
podcast.
now,
But
now the next scene that I've got is what I called the 30-year-old sleepover.
why?
Because once again, it's a bunch of 30-year-old high school students,
Oh yeah.
right, that are having a sleepover, and it's pretty funny.
It's John. He's supposed to be 12.
Yeah,
Dad.
right. It's pretty
Black
funny.
is supposed to be 12.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And so
Anyway.
this is Look at Me. I'm Sandra D. Right? And
Yeah.
all
Oh,
the
I
other
thought you were gonna
stuff.
play something.
I do. I've got a couple of clips from this one.
Okay, so this is the really, really, like, this is relatable. This is how I am with my friends a lot. Like,
Oh,
the
is it?
way- That's sort of like being, no, not,
Piercing your ears and smoking and drinking. And,
yep. But my friends who don't even, like, live in the same state as me.
Yeah.
That's how we are.
Right.
No, but, like, the sort of, like, the dialogue between the characters.
Oh, so this rung true to you. You felt good about this one.
And it felt good, and also like right after the bleachers and stuff.
Yeah.
It felt like really refreshing because I thought they were gonna do the stereotypical "we're girls and we talk about fashion," and then they get into their sleepover and they're like "we're girls and we talk about murder," and I'm like, yeah, that's how it is.
What about?
Keep your filthy paws off my silky drawers.
That's a pretty good one.
That's a good
and
one.
where did we see that recently?
That was on a sign at the Women's March.
It was totally on a sign at the Women's March, and I didn't place it. Like I didn't recognize it then. Like it stood out to me.
Oh boy.
I thought it was a Planet of the Apes reference somehow. Because there's the "get your damn hands off" or "get your hands off me, you damn dirty ape" is a really famous Planet of the Apes thing.
Keep your filthy paws
Get your
off
filthy
my
hands off
silky
me, you
drawers.
damn dirty ape, or something like that. It's like that's a weird kind of reference for why Planet of the Apes is showing up
That would
here.
be a really good sign to have at the Women's March.
It
though.
would, but that's even better. And now I know that it's from Greece. Even I'm learning stuff out of this one. And then one of my favorites. I'm going to turn this down because this might be a little loud.
Elvis! Elvis!
Elvis, get your pelvis.
Yeah, keep that
off
pelvis
of
away
me.
from me. That's pretty funny. Elvis the pelvis. So this was the whole thing about Elvis, right? Was that when he would sing and dance, he would shake his pelvis.
Oh, wow.
And everybody that was too far.
rowdy?
He couldn't
Oh my
be on
God,
TV.
really?
Like he was censored. You could only be shot from the waist up on some TV shows because they were afraid he would do his little pelvis wiggle. And yeah.
So funny.
Yeah,
Okay.
Elvis the pelvis.
He is a pelvis.
No, that's cool that you felt
Bones
like that was a
connected to
good
the
scene that felt like good
Yes.
representation
Oh,
and
then I
everything
do-
even to you.
And then I have my notes, which are like my notes. Usually on these things, I like to keep them this way so
Yep.
that they remind me of like my thought process.
Yep.
Is just pure word vomit
Mm-hmm.
going on. So it says, okay, so the sleepover is relatable. Besides the making fun of people part, I mean, we make fun of each other a lot, but consensually, that makes it sound wrong, and that is the entire.
Right. Yeah.
We make fun of each other a lot, as I mentioned before, but like we are not backstabbing each other.
We've also got right after the sleepover was one of your requests.
Where are you going, to flog your log?
So stupid. It's so stupid.
And that's Rizzo.
Yeah, she
That's your
says
girl.
flog. That's my girl.
your girl,
And
Rizzo.
she said flog along. It's so stupid. I don't understand. Why would you? Why?
Yeah.
That's the worst euphemism I've ever heard. Ever.
All right, we'll let that one go.
Oh God, no, it's bad.
All
I
right. So
hate
then,
it.
she comes out and Danny
Oh my God.
takes off.
Bye.
Right,
He just
and
like
then
he just says it's better if I hang out with
Kaneki
you
kicks everybody out of the
losers.
car, right? And they go to like make out point, which is really funny because that's a thing too, or it
Is
used to
it?
be, probably not as much
Well,
anymore,
yeah.
but it totally used to be a thing. I got busted at a make out point once. Like a cop pulled up behind us and stopped.
Police
and,
officer?
yeah, like a police officer like came and knocked on
The
the window
law?
with a flashlight and everything and let us go. Like he was nice enough to let us get out of there. So Nani and Poppy were unaware that happened because I didn't
I'm
get like
sorry,
taken
Nani
home or
and
get a
Poppy.
ticket or something. But yeah, that totally
The
happened
law
one time.
stopped you from making out with someone. Amazing.
Yeah, and so this is the thing too. When they were parked at the thing, this is one of Kaneki's best lines because like she asks him basically if he has a condom, and
Oh, boy.
he takes it out and it
I was
tears.
expecting you to be so.
And she's like,
forward.
how did it tear?
I bought it when I was in the 7th grade.
So- and then my first thought when he said I bought it when I was in the 7th grade, I mean like 20 years ago. Like,
It's not. It's not. It's only a few years ago.
you're like 40.
He's not. He's a fresh young boy.
No, I thought that was super funny. All right, so that was make out point, which I thought was funny.
Yeah. Okay. Wait.
all right.
Okay. I have a log. I have a log.
Mm-hmm.
I have a note before that, which is like at the end of the Hopelessly Devoted to You. She's like swirling her note around in a kiddie pool. and I'm
I
like,
know. Where did that
why?
kiddie pool come from too? Like, I don't think any of them have little brothers or sisters that would account for the kiddie pool being in the front yard of that house. Like,
Kiddie
I did
pool.
find that to be a really weird kind of thing. To
But
go,
like,
how-
why would she swirl it around in there anyway?
Well, I think
She's
she dropped
ruining
it.
it.
I think she dropped it.
Oh.
And then when she looked down, she saw like water reflection John Travolta, which is another one of my favorite shots of the movie because it's very Olin Millsy again. You go back to the Olin Mills kind of thing. I don't. Was Olin Mills around in the 70s, Mommy? Do you know? Yeah, that seems like a thing that would be around. So they had these cool, like, double exposure, like, looking up away from the camera, and then here's a you. Yeah, like, they did that thing all the time, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally noticed the same thing about the kiddie pool. That's an excellent reference.
Okay.
All right.
So, and then I forgot to take notes until Grace Lightning, so we're having fun. That was the air conditioning.
Is the air conditioner kicking on and off?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
does
okay.
that.
All right, I
That's
thought we
just
had that
how
off.
it is.
Yeah, I just hear it in the background. Okay,
Okay,
cool.
anyways, so...
Grease Lightning is what I've got next.
Okay, and then, so my first immediate note and immediate thought upon watching the movie was that jacket throw was so sick, dude!
Which one? In Grease Lightning?
Yeah, when he's like... When
At
he
the
starts,
beginning?
Yeah, when he starts
Yeah.
Grease Lightning, he takes his jacket off
Yeah.
because he's being cool, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah.
That's what you do when you're about to do
That's right.
car stuff. You
That's-
take your jacket off.
that's
and
right.
he throws it behind him and it lands in the basket. And that must have taken so
Yeah.
long
I don't know.
to
It might have been the
shoot.
first take, and it was a total mistake.
Yeah, but
I
it
don't
was,
remember that.
It was so cool.
Yeah, so this song too, in the musical, and when you do it in high school or whatever local theater production that you do with what's the guy's name, Mommy, that does all of the Waiting for Guffman? Whatever.
That guy?
If you do one of those cool local theater productions that's directed by Christopher Guest, then Sparky, I think was his name in that. This is Kanicki's song.
Yeah.
So yeah, Kanicki sings this song.
So
And so going back to the sleepover and the kiddie pool, so she sang "Hopelessly Devoted to You" was the song that she sang that wrapped up with watery floating
John Travolta.
John Travolta's head floating in a kiddie pool for her to sing to.
You know.
And so she wrote that song for the movie because she was a singer, right? She came in. She was not an actor. She came in and sang and did the movie. And she wrote that, and she not only that. Before this, she was really a country singer, and so that was a very country song. It had like a steel lap guitar kind of thing in it, and
Yeah.
it was a very country riff kind of thing. And there was another song that she wrote and added that wasn't in the Broadway show, and so Travolta got a little like jealous that she was doing a couple of big numbers
protagonist.
that weren't part of the Broadway musical. And so when it came time to do Grease Lightning, he's like, no, I'm going to do Grease Lightning. And so like Kanicki and the director are like, what? No, you're not. And he's like, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm going to do this. And so he took that song over, even though that's not.
It's not even
where
about
it's
his
done.
car.
I know. That's why he doesn't sing it.
Because it's not about
he
his
sang it.
car.
And even when he when he did sing it, hold on, where's the clip? Oh, he sounded like this.
We'll get some overhead lifters and 4-barrel quads, oh yeah.
So it's like a totally different voice, and it's him. Like it is Travolta actually singing it, but the voice is so different that
so
Presley
wild.
didn't think it was him. Number
Yeah,
one,
I thought it was someone else.
She thought it was totally somebody else singing the song, and he was like lip syncing to it. It was just the strangest thing that he fought for that song, and then it just doesn't even sound like him. He does it in a weird, different voice. I thought that was kind of funny.
Boy. Yeah, okay, so my note about the song, because I got distracted
Yeah.
bopping to it,
Yeah.
is that this is slappin', it's a bop of the century, I love it, it's good
Oh,
song.
you like Grease Lightning?
I really like it song.
Yeah,
It's a good
and the
song.
whole
It
like
gives-
when they point.
Yeah, that's so cool!
That's every production does that. Everything go Grease Lightning go. That's in every totally.
That's good.
Yeah, again, wonderful podcast visuals for all of you.
Oh yeah, okay. And then next, yes, that's really good. It's very good. I like this song a lot. I'm probably gonna add it to my music playlist, but unfortunately, if I like listen to it too much, it's never gonna get out of my head.
Yeah, here's a good
Ever.
oh wait, I'm sorry, I'm leaving Grease Lightning now. Are you done with Grease Lightning?
Yes.
Okay, so they go to the diner. And
No,
they're hanging out.
there's a
This
thing
is
between
This
that.
is all like a really fast moving movie too. That's one of the things I realized. Well, hold on. Like they went to the first day of school and the announcement was our first pep rally is Saturday. I was like, oh my goodness, you never have a pep rally that fast. Like the team's not prepared to do, like it was and then suddenly it's like a week. Like there was no real school time. Like things moved really
Yeah, people
weirdly
never go to
time
school
wise
in
here.
this movie.
All right, what happened between Grease Lightning and the diner?
So between that is I almost just called him JD. Yeah, JD.
Not
JD
JD.
is in this movie now.
Not JD.
He's doing this. Okay, where Danny is trying to become a jock to win over
Oh,
Sonny.
is that where did I put
That's
that?
in between the diner and.
Oh, I've got it
Grease
after the
Lightning.
diner.
Oh well, I have it in between the diner and. Grease
Yeah, I may have done so. That was
so-
super cool, though, right?
I was-
Like, as cheesy as the montage was, the thought behind it of when the coach says you need to change, and he's like, "Yeah, I know. That's why I'm here. I need to." Like, that's great.
That's
like,
good.
that's
That's a
really
good
good.
line.
Like, he's in love with this girl, and he wants to be a better
No,
person.
that's not, well, I mean, okay, he wants to be a better person. That's a good message. But the part of this movie that kind of got like got under my nerves. I'm under my skin. Yeah, on my nerves.
On your nerves, under
Yes.
your skin? Your
Yes.
nerves are under your skin. So once it gets under your skin, it's on your nerves. Yeah.
Yes. What that bugged me is like you changing yourself for a relationship. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah. But there's also, there's
don't
this
do
like
that.
gift of the Magi thing. I used to read
what?
this comic book series called Beautiful Stories for Ugly Children that I really loved.
yeah.
And there's this whole thing about a classic story of two people that sacrifice one thing that they love to give a gift to the other person. And so it's always like the gift that they're giving each other now is pointless because the other person gave up the thing that they loved to do that.
Yeah.
Where like one person like
don't
gave up
do
their
that.
eyes. Like there's it's
Their
like
eyes?
yeah. Like it's a tragic tale of woe.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, the sighs. But yeah, it's like this idea that I'm willing to give up this thing that I have to be with you, and the other person is willing to give up their thing, and it almost kind of happens here, right? Like if he really just became a prep and she became a greaser, then they would still be mismatched. And so there's kind of this idea that they're willing to give up these things for each other, but they miss each other as they pass on
Point
the
is,
way. Yeah, but still, you
don't
shouldn't
change
change
yourself
to be with
for a
somebody else. That's
relationship.
right. Yeah.
Anyway.
It is both a sweet sentiment
But,
and
like-
something you probably shouldn't do.
Right.
I agree
and
with
I
that.
just said it was like, it's like vaguely relatable because it's all Danny just trying different sports and being like, I can't do this.
But just the idea of the coach saying you need to change and him saying, yeah, I know, that's why I'm here. Like, I loved that.
Changing to your gym
I loved it. No,
clothes.
you need to change clothes. And he's like, oh, okay. And he flips up the collar on his jacket
And
as he walks
walks
off.
away. That's
Yeah,
really
he's
cool.
smoking and trying to beat people up. And again, like if you watch him try and like punch one of the, like it's not the toughest thing I've ever
He's
seen.
not very tough.
Right. And he's
like
like the school tough. I think that's super funny.
being
And then the
a
wrestler
boy.
beats him up, like, you know, just throws down on it. Yeah. But I thought that was a cute little scene. All right, now
Okay.
we're in the diner.
So now we're in the diner, and the diner is a lot of word vomit.
Call me.
That's not from here.
It's in the diner, totally in
Is
the
it?
diner.
I thought it was
Yeah.
the girl from the way earlier.
No. It's her, but like when she goes to the jukebox and he loops around
yeah,
to try and go
yeah.
intercept her at the jukebox.
Call me.
And she gets like the
Call
classic,
me.
like that's one of the best call me's I've ever heard. So yeah.
I can't do it. Why do we still do this for Call Me, by the way?
I don't know. Everybody knows what that means.
Like, no one...
Like you do this instead, or like click the button on your headphones. Call me. Like that wouldn't be a good look either.
I don't know. Anyway,
All right, go ahead. I've got a couple more clips here that I think are really, really funny.
my word vomit, I'm going to try and decipher it really fast. So I
Alright.
say that's cute about something.
Okay.
And I don't...
Lots of it were cute.
Lots of it was really cute. I think it was when they were originally... Okay, so this was, I think...
Call me.
When they
That's
first...
cute.
Yeah, when they first got there and they were... Oh, this is before that? Whoa, this is before
Yeah,
that.
why were they hiding? Like, was he embarrassed of her? Like, I wasn't really
don't
sure
know.
what happened there. Like, why he tried to smuggle her into the diner and be hidden.
Being on a date is embarrassing.
Well, but they were all on dates.
Teenagers.
Like, the
I
whole
know,
thing,
everyone
like,
was on
yeah,
dates. But it was annoying.
I didn't really
Whatever.
understand why he was trying to sneak her in.
Anyways, but this is before the diner. Actually, this is when they're doing the, like, I can't, audio podcast. When they're doing the wave thing.
Yeah.
And they're like, she's like, this depend, are you going to prom? Would that get prom? The dance?
Yeah.
It's prom.
Yeah,
Are you going
with Lorenzo Lamas. Is she going with Lorenzo Lamas? Yeah.
And she's like, I don't know. Are you going to take me or what?
No, that didn't happen at the diner.
That happened before the diner.
That was the sports thing.
Yeah, that's before the
when
diner,
he fell
and I
down
forgot.
trying to jump over the hurdles.
I thought it was at the
Yeah.
diner. I thought that the note was about the diner, but it's actually about that. And I
Yeah,
was
they
like,
were
that's cute. That's good.
they were pretty mean to Lorenzo Lamas there.
They were kind of really mean
Yeah,
to
they kind
him.
of left him alone. Although, did you notice that like when she sort of said that and looked back over to him, that he was there with two cheerleaders?
Yeah.
Like suddenly two other cheerleaders had appeared and were kind of stepping in and stuff. So yeah, he was whatever. He was doing the same thing.
Yeah, that was cute.
All right.
Okay, so this is my
Now, are we
thought.
back at the diner yet?
Back at the diner.
All right.
Okay, here are so the next note is diners are cute because they are. Diners are really good.
I like a good
and
diner.
they have a second like meet cute. The meet cute part 2 at the diner. I thought that
Oh,
was
when
good.
he comes back to talk to
That
her.
was meet cute
Right.
part 2. I like that.
Yeah.
Anyways, this is okay. So this is entire like I forgot what's after this. Okay, so this is entirely like unrelated, but there's this one Thomas Sanders vine, which I'm going to describe to you in words because
Okay.
I can't show it to you and it's
All right,
going to
all
not
right.
go well. So basically, Thomas. Okay, how am I going to describe this? Maybe I should leave this out because I don't know how to describe this.
Yeah, okay, we'll watch
It's
it
the
later.
What's the Cutest Couple vine, and I was thinking of it a lot during this scene because it really reminded me of that. Like, especially the part where Kaneki and Zuko and Rizzo and Sandy are all sitting at like the table together.
they'll pull the tables together.
That's the Thomas Sanders vine.
Yeah.
And I'll show it to you and you'll understand what I mean. It's the part I was laughing about. Okay, so for those of you who don't listen to First Time Show, this makes no sense.
Who is that?
That's is that Kaneki?
That's Kaneki.
That's Kaneki. I mean, that's Kaneki. That's what he's like the whole time.
Yeah, that is the Kaneki could just do this the whole movie. Oh, no, not that one. No, it was Flip It.
It was flipping. It was flipping.
Eat
me.
horrible. You can't do that.
I've got another one at the same time. Though.
Oh my God.
So yeah, Rizzo says something mean to him, and he does a little.
No, she says something mean to Sandy actually.
Oh, that's right. She did say something. Oh yeah, like kangaroos or something like that.
So Sandy's like, "Oh, I'm scared about dancing."
Oh, they may
because
dance.
What if they
ways.
dance
we
differently?
do in Australia. That's the dumbest line. That's so bad.
Stupid.
That was really
and then
bad.
Rizzo's like, "Yeah, well, we can teach. We'll
do the kangaroo
we
hop.
shuffle, the kangaroo shuffle." And then he says, which, okay, so context for that is there's this really bad background actor in Lost.
Oh, yeah.
And he...
Regs.
Like, Regs. Yes, I love Regs. My favorite Lost character is Regs. And Regs is like... And he does this line where he starts it with...
Look who's here.
Anna
Lucia,
Lucia.
welcome back.
Look who's here. Great to see you, Anna Lucia. Welcome back. So
But
bad.
there's no pause like that.
No, it's welcome back.
Look who's here. Welcome back, Anna Lucia.
No, it's
Good
not.
to see you, Anna Lucia. Welcome back.
It's look who's here. Good, nice to see you, Anna Lucia. Welcome back. It's really good.
It's real bad. All right, and then I've got so again, Danny does the like playoff thing, right? So he starts, he's being real
Sappy,
cute with her, and then everybody shows up, and she like invites him over to tea. I think
he's like, I don't like.
And I don't like tea. You don't have to drink tea, and I don't like parents either, or something. And then, this is actually when they're standing at the jukebox. I think when he does this line, but this is one.
No, they're
this
at
is
the table.
this is no this. I think this line I'm about to play
Oh,
comes
okay.
from the jukebox. This is a really really classic line too.
Oh boy.
Come on, Sandy, don't make me laugh. Ha, ha, ha. Ha, ha, ha.
You have to play at the same time. Power couple. Can you play it at the same time? There they are. That's
Here, let me start this one first because it's kind of long.
okay. So we're gonna talk about it later, but that is the Grease power couple right there. Those two.
Are you're shipping Kaneki and
Am
Zuko?
I not?
Come on, Sandy, don't make me laugh.
Oh, yeah, okay, well, let's go. Let's wrap up this. Let's wrap the movie up real quick, and then you can loop.
Wait,
loop
what?
back. No. Let's keep plowing through the movie, and then you can come back to your entire
okay.
how this is not a straight film.
Okay, sorry. I thought we were saying let's wrap up the movie right now. And I'm
No,
like, whoa,
no,
oh my
no.
God, there's so much more.
No.
Okay.
Let's go through the rest.
Okay, so this is so Frenchie takes off her fashionable scarf.
Yeah, purple hair.
And she reveals it's pink.
Pink hair.
She reveals that she has pink hair,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't even question. I was like, oh, nice hair.
I know, like that would not be a shocking thing. But back then, I guarantee you that was a shocking
And
thing.
then everyone's like, whoa, your hair looks like an Easter egg.
Oh my goodness. That's
And I'm
great.
like-
And she hit it. But I mean, she looked stranger to me in the like headscarf than she
Really?
did taking her hair off. Like the fact that nobody said, "Why are you wearing that thing?"
Was
Like
it
the
like
whole
a fashion thing?
No, I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know. Whatever. She was
Yeah,
wearing a scarf.
That
and
was
she
a
took
little
it
weird
off,
to me.
and she had cool hair. And I was
Yeah.
like, I love that hair. Why did people like at one point think it was taboo?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
very good.
All right, so I've got a Beauty School Dropout.
Beauty School Dropout. Okay.
Comes
so
right after that.
A couple of the dancers in Beauty School Dropout look like really bored.
Oh, really?
They're
I
just
didn't
sort of
notice.
like-
Yeah. Okay. Go on a second. So that was
doing
Frankie
a audio
Avalon.
podcast.
So you had Frankie Valli saying Grease, and then Frankie Avalon saying this. And Frankie Avalon was super 50s guy. So there was a whole series of movies. Like there was a thing going on like in the 50s, maybe early 60s, where they took like pop stars, like Elvis, like people
like Elvis.
who were singing sensations and put them in movies. Like those guys and girls were
They
in
still
movies
do
a
that.
lot. Not as much, not the same way. Like you don't see
They put Ed Sheeran on Game of
who,
Thrones.
yeah, but not as a star. He wasn't the star of Game of Thrones. Who was that I was saying that casting Olivia Newton-John in this movie would be like casting somebody in a lead role today?
I don't know.
Who's the big pop
Which-
singer?
Taylor
blonde?
Swift.
Taylor Swift. Thank you. That's exactly who it was. Taylor. Like if you would put Taylor Swift as the star of a film right now, just because she's a singer, like maybe she can act. I don't know, but that would be the same thing. Anyway, Frankie Avalon was a singer, and Frankie and Annette made all these beach movies together, like Frankie and Annette. Like they were always Annette Funicello. They were at the beach and doing Beach Blanket Bingo was one of them.
Beach episode.
They were all beach episodes. Every one of these movies was the beach episode, and so it was a big thing. But he was like the big 50s guy, so it was kind of cute seeing him be the teen angel, is what the part's called in this. Doing
He was
Beauty
supposed to be a
School Dropout.
teen?
Well, he was the teen angel.
Oh.
He was an angel of teens.
I thought he was
not
supposed to be
he
a
was-
teen.
He
I
was
was like,
17.
Oh my god,
He
he's
was
12.
He was 17 too. No, I also have. They did the hand jive, which you don't know anything about, but you should learn the hand jive if you're going to learn how to dance because it's pretty funny. Like they do that little.
Oh, yeah.
It's a whole. That's like
I remember
choreographed
that.
dancing. That is a real
That's
choreographed
funny.
dance that goes. There's a song and it goes together. It's like the
the
electric
slide?
slide. That's exactly where I was going. Or the I can make your hands clap. So then you can do that whole thing. So yeah, it's like, or the chicken. Right?
The chicken.
The chicken dance.
You just said the chicken.
It's the chicken dance.
It's
whatever.
a chicken dance.
No,
but yeah,
wait,
the electric. Oh my god, okay, can I tell a story of the electric slide? Because I want to know.
You're going to tell the history of the electric slide? The story of the electric slide?
A story.
This is the story of the electric
A
slide.
story about the electric
Yes,
slide.
please tell your electric slide
Okay,
story.
so we had this really, really cool class at our quote-unquote school.
Yeah.
Which was the history of minorities. It was supposed to be about women, but it wasn't really the whole time.
Okay.
So there, where basically we would tell history, that the only rule of this history that we talked about in this class was that it could not be about a straight white man.
Okay.
And so we had this class, and it was really, really cool.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed this class. And we were talking about someone from the 50s. And I don't remember who, but we were talking about someone, and our teacher, I almost just said her name, I'm not going to say her name.
Yeah.
Our teacher is there, and she's like, okay, so we're going to, or not the 50s. Why did I say the 50s? Whatever. We're talking about someone.
We're talking about the 50s.
We're talking about the electric slide.
Because if it was in the 50s, it would actually be somewhat relevant.
Wow. No, we're talking about the electric slide now. So she's like, I brought this song and we're going to teach you how to do the electric slide. And I'm like, and I, very bad at dancing, was like, no.
Right.
But so I did the electric slide once, and then I sat and watched everyone else do the electric slide. And it was fun. And that's why I know the electric slide. It's because of that story. And it sounds really, and now it sounded really stupid once I said it out loud, but that's a story of my life about why
hopefully
I know how to do the electric
we'll have
slide.
some vlogs of Presley learning to dance, and then there'll be like a whole teach Presley something on Presley actually dancing and learning
You
how
could
to
teach me
dance.
how to do the electric slide.
We can do the electric
again.
slide. Yeah.
Okay, so
So there's the hand jive. Oh, the other thing I wanted to say is that like this is no high school dance ever.
No one.
Like high school dances is like 4 people dancing and 100 people sitting in the bleachers waiting for somebody to ask them to dance or too embarrassed to get out on the dance floor. So like the girls that were sitting on the bleachers like waiting for somebody to come ask them to dance. That was one point when that happened. Like that's what a high school dance is like. And the people at the high school dance, it's certainly not
There's
like
also this,
80% of the school population that's really good at dancing. Like that's not
it's
a
like
thing.
one person.
Yeah.
There's like this random like 30-year-old woman who's just there, and she's like,
Right.
and
I was gonna say like the 30-year-old guy
supposed-
at the skating rink that's a little too good at skating. You don't have that experience
no,
either.
I understand
but,
it,
But that
though.
reference is like the guy and girl at high school that are taking like swing lessons, and so they're kind of good at dancing. They kind of are out of place. It's not that the whole thing can
No,
actually
it's
dance.
just there's
And
like-
maybe in the 50s, like sock hop kind of thing.
People
Maybe
are
it
good at
was
it. I don't
a cooler thing to do and a more normal thing to do. But I don't. We'll ask Poppy again.
But yeah, there was this random 30-year-old woman who apparently knew Danny. She was just like there, and I don't know if she's supposed to be 17.
Oh, you mean Cha Cha?
Was she supposed to be like 17?
They were all 30. Like I don't know what you're
No,
talking
but
about.
was she, like,
yes,
she-
yes.
she was supposed to be 17?
Yes, and she was the Scorpion guy's girlfriend, right? So
No,
they
I
were
thought she
both
was
like
TV
the
guy's
oldest.
girlfriend.
Who?
TV guy.
TV guy? No.
I thought she was, because that's why she looked 30, is because she was his
No.
girlfriend.
She was the one that like the whole crisscross thing where the guy in the Scorpions with the acne
Rizzo.
scars. He was with her, but then they got in a fight, and so he went with Rizzo,
And she went with
and
Danny.
Danny kind of
Okay,
went with her.
so-
Like that was a whole flip flop thing. No,
This is
she
my-
was supposed to be. She went to whatever like 40-year-old ugly high school that the Scorpions guy went to.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So she's here, and she knows Danny.
She does know Danny.
Apparently, they had a fling or
And
something.
through like
I
their
don't know.
dance reputations too, somehow.
Their dance. I know, it was weird.
They had like
But-
dance rep that they needed to. She wanted to dance with him so they could win the trophy.
Right. Okay. So here's my second, and I think my last heterosexual complaint.
Okay.
Which is just a complete. So what it is like, so Sandy goes and dances with I don't remember. Some
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
One of the guys from T-Birds.
Okay.
I don't remember who.
Yeah.
So she goes and dances with him because they sort of were switching partners.
Duty.
Sure.
Okay.
And Danny goes and dances with Cha-Cha.
Yeah.
And she gets so mad. And like, so first
Sandy does.
Sandy gets
Yeah.
so mad.
Yeah, well, Sandy's,
She's very jealous about this.
Right.
Okay. And the thing I don't understand is, first of all, she switched partners too. She went and danced with the other guy for a little bit and then went back into the crowd.
Yeah.
And she got so mad when Danny was still dancing with Cha-Cha.
Yeah.
When first of all, they were like really far into the dance competition,
Yeah.
so he could not have, if he wanted to be in the dance competition, he could not have refused, because or else it would look clunky, and he could not have done that. And then also, he's just dancing with her,
Right.
and then they like win because they're working together and they're both the best
Yeah,
dancers.
but
and
Sandy's
it's
super
mad about
sweet,
it.
and she doesn't like that kind of stuff. So
That's not a sweet person. thing,
once
it's a jealous
again,
person
like
thing.
that's the bad thing that happened. Where like a movie made today, the bad thing that the guy did to the girl would probably be a whole lot worse than like dancing with some other girl at the high school dance.
Well, she danced
but
with
at the
another
time,
guy.
it was but
mad about
she
it.
didn't like it,
She didn't like
and
it.
he did.
That's what made me mad.
Yeah. Okay, I got that.
Well, he didn't. He was sort of like ugh the whole time, but then he started dancing, and he was like, "Yeah, you dancing."
Okay, so I got
Anyway.
the drive-in movie theater after
Oh
the thing.
boy, here's the rape cave.
These were kind of the rape case. One of my favorite things there was the swing set.
Yeah, why is there a swing set?
There really are, like there used to be.
Really?
Yeah. Like if you go to a drive-in theater, there's all the places you park your car, and then right up in front of where all the cars are, like right by the screen, there are a couple of swing sets, and you can kind of sit and swing and watch the movie.
Why?
I don't know. It's kind of cool.
It is
I
cool,
remember
but
that.
like why?
Yeah, that's a real thing. And then this was a really good one too. PG, like that was totally
Oh
a
my
thing.
God,
Like
yeah.
I totally remember that being a thing. PG for pregnant. You think you're PG. And then I thought it was super
parental
cute.
guidance?
They did that long like tracking shot of like she told in the bathroom, Rizzo told like Marty or whoever that she thought that she was late. And then like as they come out, there's this tracking shot as the rumor like spreads from car to car. And it's like
Yeah.
super exaggerated of people
It's
like
so
leaning
cool.
in and whispering like in exaggerated ways. And then as Rizzo comes around the backside, the rumor has like beat her to the place
Yeah.
with Kaneki. Like that was a cool.
That's really
it was
cool.
a little heavy-handed.
I mean, she also screams, "Baby, I'm bored." It's like, why?
so I thought that was pretty good. I liked that little tracking shot.
That was really cool. That was
and then
nice.
Rizzo had her song there. Rizzo got to sing
Rizzo's song
do
was
her
really
like
good.
solo.
Was that Rizzo singing?
Yeah, that was Rizzo singing.
That was good.
That was all those people singing.
Really
yep.
valid.
Yep.
That was valid. I was just happy that Rizzo got a song. Anyway,
And then let's see what I got. Oh, I've got this one. This is
oh
funny.
my God. Okay,
this is
wait,
hold
wait,
on. I got
wait,
no. I
no,
got,
this is about the pregnant thing.
But I've got a clip. I've got Danny in the car.
Oh.
We did not go together, Sandy. We just went together, that's all.
That's funny.
Yeah, well,
And-
I understand.
I have a story about this too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
God,
So
I
I was about your age, maybe even a little bit younger. And this goes back to your whole coming out video and being too young to know kind of thing too,
Oh,
right?
boy.
So I was playing football, and we had homecoming, and we would take pictures, and we would escort cheerleaders, and we would take our pictures with these cheerleaders and stuff, right?
Yay.
And so I escorted this
You
cheerleader.
escated.
Yeah, I escorted this cheerleader to homecoming, which really, at our age, it just meant you took a picture together,
And then you.
and there wasn't really any other.
Were you at homecoming at my age?
Yeah. But it was like this was like club sport, so it wasn't part of the school.
Oh.
I played football for like the county league kind of thing, and we had cheerleaders, and then we would get together at homecoming, and you declared one of your games to be your homecoming game. But there
Yeah.
wasn't a whole lot of rigmarole that went with it, right? Whatever. Anyway, and I remember this girl's name, and that's exceptional because I don't remember anybody's names. Like I couldn't name like 5 people I went to high school with. Just because number one, I didn't hang out with a ton of people, and number two, I don't remember people's name. I don't remember anything from back then, right? But I
Someone
remember
has to speak to me at least.
I was like 11, and I remember this girl's name, and I'm not going to say it on the podcast, of course, but I remember this girl's name, and so
What, is she listening?
no,
Did you say her full name?
No, nobody's listening.
This girl,
So, whatever.
this girl who lives at this address.
Whatever, but like somebody who knows me may listen to this and may know her, and like it's a
Oh,
whole
okay.
thing. Anyway,
Understandable.
so she called me at my house, or she probably had some other girl call me at my house because that's how you did it.
Yeah,
she would
I
have
know.
one of her friends call me and say, "Oh, she wants to know if you'll go with her," right?
Yeah.
And it freaked me out. Like it just floored me. Like I didn't know what to do. I literally was in tears. Like and not on the phone. Like I hung up. I was like, oh, here's what I said when I was on the phone. I went.
Well, that's cool, baby.
Yeah, so that was me on the phone, where like real me was
Sandy.
right. So I was like freaking out, right? But I was totally like,
Well,
oh,
that's cool, baby.
that's cool, baby. And
Baby,
yeah,
so B-A-B-Y.
I'll let you know. I'll let you know tomorrow, right? And I hung up, and then I was just like, hyperventilating and like freaking out. And I still remember this. This is Nani, right? So Nani found me like hyperventilating and crying, and she asked me what was wrong, and I kind of told her. I was like, this girl, she wants me to go with her, and I don't know if I want to do that, and I don't know what I want to do, and stuff like that. And Nani, it's so funny. I hope Nani's not listening to this.
Oh, no.
Nani said, well, you know, she's not really asking you to go anywhere. Like that was Nani's advice. Like you're not really going to go anywhere with her. And I was just so floored by that statement that I was like, okay, clearly you're not tracking the same conversation that I'm having right now. Right?
Yeah.
She's not actually asking you to. You're not going to go anywhere with her. And I was like, that's not what what are you talking about? That helps me not at all. So, and I ended up. I think I just never said another word about it. And,
my God.
and it just like. You didn't go? No, I didn't go with her. No, like go with her.
Yeah, you're right.
I didn't go? Is that how you would say that?
You were saying that it had something to do with homecoming.
No.
No. I was saying like homecoming is how I was her escort at home. That's how we knew each other, was through homecoming. And so you were asking kind of about the homecoming and the rallies and stuff like that. So that kind of stuff happened. And then you're not actually going to go
That's
anywhere
also
with her.
Old slang. It doesn't make sense.
Go steady is kind of what, but you just said
It's
go.
more-
Will
yeah.
you go with me was kind of what you
Will
said.
you
And it just
go?
means like be boyfriend, girlfriend, right? Do you want to be my boyfriend kind of thing? Do you want to go? Yeah. Do you want to? So, that's my story about the first time that a girl kind of asked me to be her
And you
boyfriend.
cried.
And I cried.
Wait, no, you can't do that.
Wait a second. Every time we've done one of these podcasts, almost all of them, I have said, "Oh, there's this really horrible, embarrassing story about that, but I'm not going to tell it on the
you
podcast.
just
You
did
have to
it.
ask me later." So I thought I would just go ahead and give you this one.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
You have to tell me this.
The other ones are way worse than that. The other ones are way worse
wait,
than that.
But no, you're not allowed to do
That's cool, baby.
That's cool, baby.
You're not. I'm mad about it now because you're not allowed to do that because that is like nowadays that is a strictly lesbian thing to start crying if a girl talks to you.
I was kind of a lesbian.
That's not how it works. No, like literally.
Have you seen my haircut from back then?
No, seriously though, if a girl like talks to a lesbian now, we just start crying.
Have you seen mommy's lesbian haircuts? They're legendary.
I want to know.
Yeah,
Okay, so have you seen One Day at a Time?
We'll have to look
Have
at
you
some
seen-
of the photo albums
Father,
from when
have
we
you seen
started
Have
dating.
you seen One Day at a Time?
The TV show?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course I have.
Good. Okay, so the two girls on One Day at a Time.
Yeah.
That's exactly how we are. That's not even an exaggeration. That's how we are.
All right.
That's
I
how
don't know
we
what that
are.
means. All right,
Two
we're
girls
going
in One Day
long.
at a
We're
Time.
going
The
long.
gay
Let's look
ones.
back.
Okay.
All right, so we did the pep rally. We did Rizzo's song.
Let me say my pregnant thing.
Oh, your pregnant thing. All right, go.
Not about pregnant
Are you
pauses.
announcing that you're pregnant on the
Yes.
podcast today?
Yes, I am pregnant.
Are you PG?
I am parental guided.
Okay. All right. What's your
Anyways,
pregnant thing?
My pregnant thing is there's this video, and I'm sure everyone listening to the podcast has seen this video, but I know you haven't, which is someone in this like real like announcer voice reading misspelled people misspelling pregnant on
I've seen that. I have totally seen that.
I did. I showed it to you, didn't I?
Yeah.
And it's like M-U,
Yeah.
Pregante.
Yeah.
And I couldn't stop thinking about it during the scene, and it ruined the entire scene for me.
All right. I thought that was cool. All right. Let's go to the race.
Race.
Yeah.
That's like a real place that we flew over on our way to Seattle.
Yeah, when we were landing. No. So when we were coming back, you kind of loop around. And so that's the Los Angeles River. And so the way Los
Which is on a
Angeles
river.
deals with the river, apparently, is they pave it. Turn it into like a culvert of some sort.
Instead of just building a bridge over
But we
it.
did. We flew right over, and I got to show Presley exactly where they did
Like,
the
that's
race.
where it was.
That's
a
exactly
place.
it's exactly where it was. Exactly where it was.
do people-
And there's also
did
they
people
shoot a lot of
race?
movies down there. So there's a really cool scene from Terminator 2, maybe
One
I
of
think.
the Terminators.
Yeah, one of the I think it's Terminator 2 where he rides his fat boy down and
Yeah,
goes
no, I
down
don't
into
know. I haven't
things.
seen
Like
it.
that was a cool. Yeah, they shoot
But-
a lot of stuff down there.
Were there races? Is that a thing you
You
did?
know, I would not be surprised that there were races at some point in time down there.
No,
I-
like
I
not
hear
there.
not.
Like at high school, did you guys like race?
Oh yeah, like drag racing and stuff
Yeah,
like
was
that.
that
Oh
a thing
yeah,
you
yeah. That was a thing we did.
I see.
That was a thing.
Okay,
Very
that was my
dangerous.
question.
Very dangerous. Don't do that.
Oh,
Don't do
gay
that.
scene! Gay scene!
All right, where's the gay scene?
It's gay scene time! It's before this.
At the race?
Before the race.
All right, before the like when they're when they kind of almost kiss.
Yeah, listen, what does this scene mean? Because I literally don't know. What does it mean?
I don't know. It means it means that like everybody involved in the production of this film was gay, and they wanted to throw a little shipping nod into the film.
What does it mean?
It was really funny.
So there's a scene, and I have to talk about it now because this is the most important scene in this movie. So this scene, and I don't remember the exact wording. Like, there was no wording. It was just like Kaneki walks up to Zuko and is like, "Hey, I'm gonna race," and Zuko goes, "Cool," and then he starts. There's this weird like thing that happened, and he's like, "Do you want me to drive for you?" And then Kaneki says no, and then they start laughing and being like just like straight out of a fan fiction, and I don't know what happened.
Well, there was a hug that happened before that.
Yeah, what is going on?
And then after that, like Kaneki got hit in the head. It was somebody opened the door and hit him in the head, and then that's why Danny was going to drive for him because he got a concussion.
Was that? I thought that was before this.
No.
Okay.
He was laying on the ground, waking up, and was too lightheaded to drive when Danny said, "I'll drive for you." That's why he was asking.
No, it's a different time. This is like before they started
when he was saying
racing.
like, "Will you be my wingman?" kind of thing. "Will you be my buddy?" That was back at the school. Kind of thing.
It just said buddy, and I was like, "What does that mean?"
No, he was kind of saying, "Hey, will you be my?" You know how sometimes when I can't remember what the line was, but like in a movie or something like that, there's a guy that, "Hey, will you be that guy for me?" kind of thing. No, it was.
There's a guy.
It was a total like homoerotic kind of vibe going on. With
I know he just says, "Do you want to be my guy?" And I'm like,
"I'll be my guy." Yeah. So no, that was there.
What does it mean?
Okay, so after the race, we go to the fair, which is awesome. I love fairs.
The fair was good.
Love the little fairs, and the fair has maybe my favorite song. That's awesome. Like that is a great. By any measurement, that is a great song. And this is the reveal of Sandy
being emo,
making her change to being emo. That's funny.
Emo
to being
Jack.
like the greaser girl with the big puffy hair. Now the thing that I wanted to get to on here too is that this happened in real life too, because Olivia Newton-John's next album, like I said, she was like a country singer before this. Her next album was all like sexual, and the cover of the album was kind of a riff on her with the kind of blown out hair and tight spandex suit. And like how she transformed in Grease, she sort of transformed her career.
That's cool.
Into being kind of the edgier girl when she was singing the thing.
The emo
Mommy
kid.
can give you all kinds of lessons about it. So Mommy's embarrassing story is that when she was young, she used to play the Xanadu soundtrack and roller skate on like a concrete slab out in her backyard, and she had like huge choreographed routines that she would do. And she doesn't consider that an embarrassing story, but
That's mean.
I think it a little bit is. Yeah, okay, so there was that, and then they did the cool thing and they traded places, and he kind of showed up as a prep because he lettered in cross country running at some time when nobody noticed that he was lettering in cross country running, which I thought was pretty fun. So I thought that was really good. And then the We Go Together song I think is really good because it's got the lama lama ding dong. It's got all that kind of like
ding ding ding
scatting.
Oh my god! Oh, this is what I started like almost crying on the plane.
Yep.
Because it was because that part is the hamster song.
We go together.
Not that part. The other part.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
That part. They started like doing the lemon ding dong part.
So good.
It's
so
a good song.
good. This
But, like,
the soundtrack is awesome. I bought the soundtrack too, so you can listen to the soundtrack.
But it's basically it's really close to the hamster song.
Yeah, I should have pulled that.
And I
wanted to
started,
pull
like screaming. I was like,
somehow I didn't have time, even though we had 2 weeks. But I was going to pull like regs to like compare them against each other because I thought that would have been super funny. And I was going to pull the hamster song to do that too. But yeah, that was good.
It was like annoying, or it wasn't. It was something.
And then they like ride off
something.
into the sunset in the car that they built in Grease Lightning, and they fly. It's
weird.
That was a really.
And then everyone
weird
is like,
ending.
that means they're in purgatory. And I'm like, well, that's what everyone says.
That happened. They died in the car race. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever.
Everyone's like, they
it's pretty
died.
funny. Okay, so now let's real quick because we're at like 1:20 now. Let's talk about the how this is not a straight film more than we've already talked about it.
Yeah, I've talked about it a lot.
You can
It's
wrap
most
up.
important.
So you need to wrap up with how it's not a straight film, and then you need to give me my assignment for next week, and then we'll do housekeeping one more time, and then we'll get out of here.
It's not-
Wait! Before you do that, did you like it?
I did. I really like this movie. I mean, or else like I would have. I would not have forgotten to take notes if I didn't like this movie.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's a good movie.
It's really good.
And
It is a lot racier than I remember it being.
Yeah,
No pun
it
intended.
Do the clip now.
Dad joke.
Do the clip.
Okay. All right, go ahead. Gay. Oh, wait. You want this one?
Yeah.
Or this one?
That one.
All right. So do your gayness.
Anyway. Okay. So this is not a straight film. I could probably write like an entire essay about it.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure people have.
Yes, but basically, so this is true of
Paint
most.
this film with your gay brush.
This is true of most 70s and 80s films. Is that they are like really damn gay, and no one notices because it's the 80s.
Right. Well, like somehow none of us knew that Freddie Mercury was gay, and if you go back and
he's not. He's bi.
look at that, you're like, what?
Yeah.
How did I miss that?
But yeah.
That Elton John's a real ladies' man.
Right. Okay. So first. Okay.
All right.
So the thing is, like, when I watched this movie,
Yeah.
like, I don't understand how when that movie came out, the second Rizzo walked on screen,
Yeah.
you did not,
Yeah,
your brain did not scream,
No.
that's not a straight human
No,
being.
didn't happen.
Like, I don't understand. She's
Didn't
got
happen.
the haircut, she's got the walk, she has her jacket isn't even on her arms.
Yep.
And she
Oh.
spends, that was really cool.
No.
And she spends the entire, like, song about, oh, we are straight and we are in love. She spends that song just being like,
Maybe that's why they broke up, because she's gay.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, why? How did you not think that?
Yeah.
And then there was this, like the really weird, really gay scene between Kaneki and Danny
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
that is not
I mean,
supposed to be
it
interpreted.
is a musical. So
It is. I'm like, no, listen, that was not supposed to be
they
interpreted.
do
as
have
straight.
target audiences.
Ever.
They need to
And,
to
like-
appeal to their base a little bit from time to time.
Right. And it was like super weird to me that people just didn't think of that.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it's really not a straight movie. Everyone in that movie, if you watch the movie now, especially if you are gay,
Yeah.
you will know no one in that movie is straight.
Okay, I've got a that's a whole separate thing. We're not even going to go into. I've got one last clip. This may be my favorite clip of the movie. You ready?
I'm ready.
The only man a girl can depend on is a daddy.
Yeah.
Look at that. All right, cool.
Daddy,
Okay.
winky face.
I know that's a little creepy too.
The only man a girl can depend on is a daddy.
And that's a little. Do you want to ride? Like it's got that voice kind
The
of
only
going
man
on.
a girl can depend on is a daddy.
Right? I don't love that part, but yeah. So I loved it. It was very different than I remember it being, but I had a really good time. And some of the
really good
music is just phenomenal.
question.
So good. Yeah.
Did you see the gay stuff this time watching it, or was it just because I was making that face? So you do. Okay, wait. I'm gonna call you out really quickly.
Woo, that was interesting. Didn't mean for that to happen. Okay.
I'm gonna call you out really quickly. So when we're listening to a book in the car, or I have a really vivid memory of us listening to a book in the car. Or,
Drive it on home, don't you
God,
say
that is so
no.
loud.
That was really loud.
Drive it on home,
Hello, Brooke.
don't you say no, Jerry, can you be coerced?
So good. So good.
It's a good song. Okay, so you do this thing where I have a really vivid memory of us being in the car listening to
Chads back then?
Thank you.
Yay! I found it.
Okay, so we were listening to we were listening to Golden Sun in the
Yeah.
car.
Yep.
We talked about Red Rising again.
Yep.
And like there was this vaguely like, okay, so Victor was talking about, and this is gonna make no sense to anyone who haven't read this book, but Victor was like blah 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 flirting with people, and then Darrow's like, I want to see you flirting with Mustang, and then you turn to me and you make this this face whenever something gay happens in any media ever, and you turn to me and you make that face.
Yeah.
And I understand it so well that
Yeah.
as you catching on and trying to see my reaction to it.
And it's probably like 45 seconds after you have caught on most of the time. Yeah.
And it's really, really funny. And you did that after a couple of the scenes here. And I don't know, is that because you see my reaction or because you see it yourself and then want to see
Usually, I mean, I catch it by that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually that's me catching it myself and then turning to you to acknowledge, hey, I got one. Right?
Yeah.
Give me credit. I caught that one. That one was so blatant that I figured it out.
Wait,
yeah.
can you do the face?
It's all, no, I can't do it on purpose. It has to happen
It's just
organically.
like this.
It's got to be natural. So
It's good.
Okay, cool. So let's loved it. It was great. Watch it. I'm sure most of the people watching this have seen Grease. I would expect. Watching this, listening to this, have seen Grease. If you haven't, go watch it. It's awesome. Let us know what you think in the comments below. If you're on YouTube watching this, if you're listening, send us an email, send us a tweet. Let us know. Let us know what you think. We loved it. If you've ever been in the production, I want to have an online conversation with somebody who has been in the production.
And Danny Day. That's my question.
Did Kanicki sing Grease Lightning?
I hope
okay, so it's your turn to give me some homework.
Woo!
What am I doing for the next 2 weeks?
My homework is I made a playlist on YouTube.com of bits from John Mulaney and songs from Bo Burnham.
John Mulaney and Bo
It's actually
Burnham.
Mulaney, but I want to say Mulaney because I can.
John Mulaney and Bo Burnham. Hey, who are who?
John Mulaney is a stand-up comedian.
The
only one I will ever stand.
Okay.
And
we're gonna have a long conversation about stand-up comics. I'm gonna pull a lot of clips, and there may be a lot of bleeps in the next podcast.
And probably me like screaming. Okay. And Bo Burnham is a much more offensive musical version of John Mulaney.
Nice. And I know one of his songs.
Yes, it's Repeat Stuff.
I know, but I know it through an AMV. Like I don't know that I found it some other way. I just found it through an AMV. And I'll have to show you the AMV so you can watch it.
He's good. And so I will show you these. There's a really good, which will also be in the playlist, Left Brain, Right Brain by Bo Burnham, Animatic.
So if you have favorite bits or goofs.
No, John Mulaney cannot have goofs. He's not a McElroy.
If you have favorite bits from John Mulaney or John Burnham, Bo Burnham, David Byrne. If you have favorite bits by one of those guys or favorite song parodies or whatever, then let us know and we'll roll them into the list before we do the podcast. And podcast in 2 weeks. So if you got something that's your favorite, let us know. Let's do one more round of housekeeping.
Wait, really quickly, I do want to say that John Mulaney made possibly the funniest thing I've ever heard in the form of the Salt and Pepper Diner. I'm going to make you listen to it right after.
Yeah, no, we'll talk about all of this in 2 weeks.
I know,
that's a whole other podcast. That's a whole other podcast.
You better do your homework, and if you're not going to do all of it, you have to listen to Salt and Pepper Diner because it's the funniest thing I've ever listened to.
I'll do it all. Okay, you do the housekeeping.
Housekeeping. Hello. So, if you want to contact us to tell us about John Mulaney or Bo Burnham, or tell us your thoughts about Grease, or just give me your essay on why Grease is not a straight film, please do that. Then you can email us. Please email us at validatemepodcast@gmail.com.
Yep.
Or you could tweet us at validatemecast at twitter.com.
No. At validatemecast.
On Twitter.
Yes.
And I don't know, has anyone tweeted us?
Yeah, I think so. Okay. I think we got some tweets.
So email us and be the first person to email us, and you will get a prize in my screams of validation. Thank you for doing that. Also, if you like the podcast, go subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yeah, go. More importantly for the podcast, go to iTunes and leave us a review, a rating, and a review, and stuff like that. I hear that helps. I don't know, but we'll talk to you in a couple of weeks. And until then,
bear with us. No one got